A man worth $148 billion eats lunch in his company's cafeteria every single day. He orders the same meal as the janitor. He sits at the same table. Nobody stares, because nobody in the building treats him differently. His name is Amancio Ortega, and he founded Zara. He is not the exception. He is the pattern. Across the globe, some of the wealthiest human beings in recorded history are living in ways that would embarrass a middle manager. They drive cars worth less than your monthly rent. They pack sandwiches in brown paper bags. They haggle over the price of haircuts. One of them gave away $8 billion and died with a $15 watch on his wrist. These are not eccentric quirks. They are deliberate strategies, and understanding why they do it reveals more about real wealth than any Forbes list ever could. Number 11. John Caudwell, the cycling billionaire. John Caudwell founded Phones 4U in the United Kingdom and built it into one of the largest mobile phone retailers in Europe before selling it for over $2 billion. His current net worth sits at approximately $3.5 billion. He could afford a fleet of Rolls-Royces, a helicopter commute, and a personal chef on standby. Instead, Caudwell cycles 14 miles to work every day. He eats homemade sandwiches on the roadside during his rides. When he travels, he frequently stays in bed and breakfast instead of luxury hotels. He buys his clothing from Marks & Spencer, a mid-range British retail chain. He still knows the price of a pint of milk. He regularly completes 1,000-mile charity cycling trips across Europe, sleeping in modest accommodations along the route. Caudwell's frugality is inseparable from his obsession with physical health and personal discipline. He does not see cycling as deprivation. He sees a chauffeured car as weakness. For Caudwell, the frugality is not about saving money. It is about refusing to let money soften him. He built his empire through relentless work, and he maintains it by refusing to let comfort erode the habits that created his wealth. Number 10. Charlie Ergen, the brown bag billionaire. Charlie Ergen co-founded EchoStar Communications and built Dish Network into one of the largest satellite television providers in the United States. His net worth is estimated at approximately $11 billion. He controls one of the most valuable wireless spectrum portfolios in the country. Ergen packs the same lunch every single day, a sandwich and a Gatorade in a brown paper bag. He furnishes his office with second-hand couches. He shares hotel rooms with colleagues on business trips. He refuses to fly first class. For years, he personally signed every check the company issued. His desk is not mahogany or glass. It is functional and forgettable. When asked about his habits, he referenced his mother's upbringing during the Depression and said simply, "I do not have a mahogany desk." Ergen's frugality is a management philosophy disguised as personal habit. By refusing to spend lavishly on himself, he establishes a corporate culture where waste is intolerable at every level. Employees cannot justify excessive spending when the founder is eating a homemade sandwich at a second-hand desk. The brown bag is not a quirk. It is a leadership strategy worth $11 billion. Number 9. Carlos Slim, the $100 billion homebody. Carlos Slim. Helú controlled América Móvil, the largest telecommunications company in Latin America, and held the title of richest person on Earth from 2010 to 2013. His current net worth is estimated at approximately $99 billion. He built an empire spanning telecommunications, banking, construction, retail, and insurance across an entire continent. Slim has lived in the same 6-bedroom house in the Lomas de Chapultepec neighborhood of Mexico City for over 40 years. He drives himself to work every day at the age of 85. He owns no yacht. He owns no private island. When a journalist asked him why he had never upgraded to a larger home, his response was 2 words: "What for?" Slim's father instilled in him a principle that governed his entire financial life. You are not the owner of wealth, you are its temporary administrator, and your obligation is to administer it well. This philosophy explains both his frugality and his relentless reinvestment. Every dollar spent on a yacht is a dollar removed from the compounding machine. Slim does not live modestly because he is humble. He lives modestly because he considers personal spending a form of financial mismanagement. Number 8. The Walton Dynasty. The pickup truck patriots. The Walton family sits atop the largest retail empire in human history. Walmart generates over $600 billion in annual revenue. The combined net worth of the Walton heirs exceeds $453 billion, making them the wealthiest family on the planet by a significant margin. Jim Walton alone is worth approximately $142 billion. The family patriarch, Sam Walton, drove a 1979 Ford F-150 pickup truck until the day he died in 1992. He lived in a modest 2,400 square foot house in Bentonville, Arkansas. He got his hair cut at the local barbershop. The Chicago Tribune once named him the Frugal King of Thrift. His son, Jim Walton, continues the tradition, running Walton Enterprises from modest offices in Bentonville. There is no glass tower. There is no Park Avenue headquarters. The family that controls $500 billion in wealth operates from a small town in northwest Arkansas that most Americans could not locate on a map. Sam Walton's frugality was not an act. It was the core algorithm of Walmart itself. The entire business model is built on relentless cost reduction passed on to consumers. A founder who spent lavishly would have contradicted the company's foundational promise. The pickup truck was not a quirk. It was the brand. And the Walton heirs understand that abandoning the frugal image would undermine the moral authority that allows Walmart to squeeze suppliers, negotiate aggressively, and maintain the lowest prices in retail. The modesty is structural. It is load-bearing. Number 7. Azim Premji, the auto-rickshaw billionaire. Azim Premji transformed Wipro from a small vegetable oil company into one of the largest information technology services firms in the world. He is worth approximately $12.1 billion. But that figure vastly underrepresents his lifetime wealth because he has donated an estimated $21 billion to philanthropy through the Azim Premji Foundation, making him the most generous philanthropist in Indian history. Premji drove a Toyota Corolla for years. Before that, a Ford Escort. He flies economy class on domestic flights. He travels in auto rickshaws and public buses. When visiting company facilities, he stays in the company guest house instead of hotels. He eats lunch in the company canteen alongside his employees. His frugality is so extreme and so consistent that Wipro employees tell stories about it the way soldiers tell war stories, with a mixture of awe and disbelief. Premji has given away nearly twice as much as he currently owns. His frugality is not about accumulating more. It is about ensuring that the money he does spend serves a genuine purpose. He signed the Giving Pledge in 2013 and has funded tens of thousands of schools across rural India. He views every unnecessary personal expense as a direct reduction in the number of children who receive an education. His auto rickshaw ride is not poverty. It is a $21 billion moral calculation. Number 6. Amancio Ortega, the cafeteria billionaire. Amancio Ortega founded Zara and its parent company Inditex, building the largest fashion retail empire on the planet. His net worth is estimated at approximately $148 billion, making him the 10th richest person in the world and the second wealthiest in Europe. He revolutionized fast fashion by compressing the design-to-shelf cycle from months to weeks. Ortega eats lunch in the Inditex employee cafeteria. He has done this for decades. On the day of the company's initial public offering in 2001, when his net worth surged by $6 billion in a single trading session, he worked a normal day and ate lunch in the cafeteria. He lives in a discreet apartment overlooking the harbor in A Coruña, Spain. He wears the same outfit every day, a blue blazer, white shirt, and gray trousers. None of these items are Zara products. He frequents the same local coffee shop. He refuses to wear a tie. Ortega has given fewer than a handful of media interviews in his entire life. His frugality is not a strategy. It is a symptom of something deeper, an absolute revulsion toward public attention. He built a $148 billion empire by understanding what ordinary consumers want to wear. He maintains that understanding by living as an ordinary consumer himself. The moment he starts eating at Michelin-starred restaurants and wearing custom suits, he loses the perspective that made Zara possible. His cafeteria lunch is not modesty, it is market research. Number 5. David Cheriton, the cheap bastard of Silicon Valley. David Cheriton is a computer science professor at Stanford University. In 1998, two of his graduate students knocked on his door and pitched him a search engine idea. He and his colleague Andy Bechtolsheim each wrote a $100,000 check. Those students were Larry Page and Sergey Brin. The search engine was Google. That single $100,000 investment is now worth approximately $20 billion. Cheriton drove a 1986 Volkswagen Vanagon for years before upgrading to a 2012 Honda Odyssey, a family minivan. He cuts his own hair. He has lived in the same Palo Alto home for 4 decades. He jokingly refers to himself as a cheap bastard, a phrase rooted in his modest upbringing. When Forbes profiled him for a story on frugal billionaires, he quoted Wikipedia's definition of frugality and said it was something he aspired to. He has publicly stated that ostentatious displays of wealth genuinely offend him. Cheriton's story reveals the absurdity of Silicon Valley's culture of excess. A man who cuts his own hair and drives a minivan generated more wealth from a single conversation on his porch than most venture capital firms produce in a decade. He did not need a yacht to attract deal flow. He needed expertise, proximity to talent, and the judgment to recognize genius when it appeared in his living room. His $100,000 check was not a financial calculation. It was an intellectual one. And it returned 200,000 times the investment. Number 4. The Albrecht brothers, the pencil stub billionaires. Carl and Theo Albrecht built Aldi into one of the largest grocery chains in the world, operating over 10,000 stores across Europe, the United States, and Australia. Carl Albrecht died in 2014 with an estimated net worth of $26 billion, making him the richest person in Germany. Theo Albrecht died in 2010 with an estimated net worth of $16.7 billion. Their combined fortune at the time of their deaths was approximately $43 billion. The Albrecht brothers used pencils down to the absolute nubs, refusing to discard them until the wood could no longer hold the graphite. They insisted that lights be turned off the moment anyone left a room. They wore cheap, ill-fitting suits. They owned no holiday homes, no private jets, no yachts, and employed no chauffeurs. Theo drove a relatively modest Mercedes E-Class. Their meals were plain, heavy on potatoes. They never advertised Aldi, considering it a waste of money. They were so reclusive that fewer than a dozen photographs of either brother exist in the public record. The Albrecht brothers did not separate their personal frugality from their corporate philosophy. They were the same thing. Aldi's entire competitive advantage is extreme cost reduction. No frills stores, limited product selection, private label brands, and almost zero marketing spend. Every penny saved on pencil stubs and light switches was a penny that could be passed on to the consumer as a lower price. Their personal cheapness was not a personality flaw. It was the operating system of a $43 billion empire. The pencil stub was the business model. Number 3. Ingvar Kamprad, the flea market billionaire. Ingvar Kamprad founded IKEA in 1943 when he was 17 years old. He built it into the largest furniture retailer on the planet, with over 460 stores across 50 countries. At the time of his death in January 2018, his net worth was estimated between $42.5 billion and $58.7 billion, depending on how the complex web of foundations and trusts controlling IKEA was valued. Kamprad drove a 1993 Volvo 240 GL for over 20 years. He always flew economy class and stayed in budget hotels. He got his haircuts in developing countries to save money. After paying approximately $27 for a haircut in the Netherlands in 2008, he told a Swedish newspaper that he normally tries to get his haircut in a developing country, and that last time it was in Vietnam. He bought his clothing at flea markets and stated in a 2014 television interview that he did not think he was wearing anything that was not purchased secondhand. He recycled tea bags. He saved salt and pepper packets from restaurants. He purchased his Christmas presents during post-holiday sales. Kamprad's most revealing quote about his frugality was this: "How the hell can I ask people who work for me to travel cheaply if I travel in luxury? It is a question of good leadership." His entire management philosophy was embodied in his personal spending. He believed that a frugal founder creates a frugal culture, and a frugal culture creates lower prices, and lower prices create market dominance. He was not merely saving money for himself. He was modeling the behavior he expected from 200,000 employees worldwide. The flea market wardrobe was not eccentric, it was policy. Number 2. Warren Buffett, the oracle who lives like your grandfather. Warren Buffett is the most successful investor in modern history. He built Berkshire Hathaway from a failing textile company into a conglomerate worth over $1 trillion. He retired as CEO on December 31, 2025. His personal net worth stands at approximately $150 billion, despite having already donated over $55 billion to charitable foundations. He has generated more wealth through the act of compounding than perhaps any other human being who has ever lived. Buffett purchased his home in the Dundee neighborhood of Omaha, Nebraska in 1958 for $31,500. He still lives there. The house was built in 1921, measures approximately 6,570 square feet, and is currently valued at roughly $1.4 million. He drives a 2014 Cadillac XTS that he purchased with hail damage because it was cheaper. His daughter buys his cars for him. He drives approximately 3,500 miles per year. Every morning he stops at McDonald's and orders one of 3 breakfast items, never spending more than $3.17. His selection depends on the stock market. If the market is down, he orders the cheaper option. He has eaten the same McDonald's breakfast for over 60 years. Buffett once told an interviewer, "I do not like a $100 meal as well as a hamburger from McDonald's." This is not false modesty. It is a genuine preference, and it explains why his fortune compounds at a rate that other wealthy individuals cannot match. Every dollar Buffett does not spend on a steak dinner remains inside the Berkshire compounding machine, generating returns on returns for decades. His frugality is not a personality trait. It is the mechanism by which he generates wealth. The McDonald's breakfast is not a quirky habit. It is an investment strategy. The $3.17 he spends each morning is the only money that leaves the system. Number 1. Chuck Feeney, the man who gave it all away. Charles Chuck Feeney co-founded Duty Free Shoppers in 1960, the company that pioneered the concept of duty-free airport retail. Over the following decades, DFS became one of the most profitable retail operations on the planet, generating billions from the tax-exempt spending habits of international travelers. By the 1980s, Feeney's personal fortune exceeded $8 billion. Feeney wore a $15 Casio watch. When a journalist asked him why he did not wear a Rolex, he replied, "Why? It tells the same time." He carried his papers in a plastic bag instead of a briefcase. He drove a second-hand Volvo. He insisted his family fly economy class, even on transatlantic flights. He owned no car and no home in his final years, renting a modest apartment instead. But calling Feeney frugal misses the point entirely. He was not saving his money. He was giving it away, all of it, and he wanted no one to know. Through the Atlantic Philanthropies, Feeney secretly donated $8 billion to universities, hospitals, and public health initiatives across the world. His identity as the donor was hidden for decades, only revealed through a legal dispute in 1997. He funded the transformation of Cornell University's campus, rebuilt healthcare infrastructure in Vietnam and Ireland, and financed scientific research across 4 continents. He died on October 9, 2023, at the age of 92, with less than $2 million to his name. Bill Gates and Warren Buffett have both credited Feeney as the direct inspiration for the Giving Pledge, the campaign that encourages billionaires to donate the majority of their wealth. Feeney did not merely pledge, he finished the job. He proved that the most powerful financial act a human being can perform is not accumulating wealth. It is choosing, deliberately and systematically, to make it disappear. 11 individuals. A combined fortune once exceeding $500 billion. And not a single yacht between them. The world celebrates billionaires who buy private islands and gold-plated bathrooms. But the men and women on this list understood something the flashy spenders never will. Wealth is not measured by what you consume. It is measured by what you control, and control requires discipline. Every unnecessary purchase is a leak in the compounding machine. Every luxury is a signal to your organization that waste is acceptable. Which of these frugal fortunes impressed you most? The man who gave away $8 billion, or the one who eats a $3.17 breakfast with $150 billion in the bank? Share your thoughts below. Subscribe to Global Status to see the money that hides in plain sight. We track the fortunes others pretend do not exist.